Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining our 12th Gen Core virtual launch event. I'm so delighted that you're here to join us today or this evening, wherever you are. This is a really, really special evening for us. Super cool. We're going to talk a lot about 11th Gen Intel Core processors. I'm your host, Marcus Yam. I'm your technology evangelist at Intel, so I'm super excited to share a lot of the really cool news for you, and I'm going to have a special guest, CarQ, with me today. First of all, what we can expect over the next hour is a mixture of really cool conversation I have with CarQ. We'll be talking. This is one of our early conversations together, and we'll be learning about the product in real time. So none of this is pre-recorded. This is all live right now, unless you're watching a replay. But right now, this is all live. A little bit of housekeeping, first of all. As you see on this platform, you're going to see a couple windows right now. It's actually pretty flexible. I'm going to do it on mine. So right now I'm looking at 3 windows, and you're able to, resize them. You can maximize them. You can move them around. You can toggle them. You can make it full size. And at the bottom, you got little controls too. So if you ever get messed up, you can kind of hit restore, and everything will go back to the original view. So play around. You got full flexibility, but at some time the producer will want to show certain things on the screen to bring your attention to them. But of course, you've got the flexibility. If you want to chat with your fellow enthusiasts, you definitely can do that too. You'll also see that there's another tab for tech support. Now, I will tell you right now, that is tech support for this platform. If you have a computer-related question that you require tech support, you got that. That's not the window for this. Intel actually does have a tech support channel. So if you actually need help with that, look for that Intel Tech Support. There's even a Reddit handle, a tech support on our Intel subreddit. So check that out if you need some tech support with your system. We'll be happy to help you out. For today, let's make sure that the stream goes off without a hitch. We're actually going to be doing some giveaways today too. We've got some really great prizes to give away. So you got to stay tuned. Some of these giveaways, I guarantee you will want to stay to the end of the event. Trust me on that one. All right, so stay tuned. And for some of these winners, just pay attention, right? If you're called upon, we need to see here to give that thing away for you. Okay, one other thing is we want to have some interactivity with this, right? We want to hear from you. So obviously chime in on the chat. But you know what? If you're not a chatty type person, we can make it easy for you. I'm going to ask you some questions on the polls, and it's multiple choice. Some may call it multiple guess, but it'll be fun. We're going to show some polls, and you have to be at the ready too. That's another one where you have to be an active participant. You're going to have 60 seconds to answer before we show everything. So there it is. That's that producer taking over the screen, and we have a poll right here. I want to know, when do you plan on upgrading or building a new PC? Are you trying to build one yesterday, ASAP? Are you looking to build one in the next 6 months? Looking a little bit longer, next 12 months? Over a year from now? And look at that. These are some real-time responses coming right in. So come on, guys. You gotta rock the polls. It's your civic duty to vote in these polls. So this is wow, look at that. Everyone wants to upgrade their computers today. Oh, but six months is kind of catching up. All right, guys, we're kind of running out of time. You're gonna have to show these results. Where we at here? All right, looks like you guys are all looking. Most of you are looking to upgrade or in the near future. If not right away, definitely inside the next 6 months, if not the full year. The vast majority of you are looking for more performance from your machines. So, and over a year from now, no problem. That means you're rocking a pretty good setup right now. Okay, everyone. Well, that's just a taste of our first poll. We're going to have a few more kind of peppered throughout to hear from what your plans are. So there you go. Those are your final results. Most people, or at least the overwhelming majority, want to upgrade within the next 6 months, if not today. Okay, let's get the show started. I want to bring on our special guest, Nathan CarQ Chan. He is an Overwatch streamer and content creator. He is a member of the Toronto Defiant, and as I've learned, he definitely knows his tech. So I'm very excited to bring him on. Nathan, welcome to the Intel 12th Gen Core virtual launch event.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? That's right, Marcus. My name is Nathan CarQ Chan. CarQ is my middle name, my Chinese name. But yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for bringing us on, and thank you for Intel for having me here.
Thanks. So I was going to ask you, since that you had this kind of sit in the backstage waiting to be called on before you can answer that poll, but I'm guessing that you're rocking a new upgrade. to your PC setup right now. I see that on the screen.
Yeah, yeah. This is a PC, a loaner PC that does have the new 12th gen processor inside of it. Did give it a little test run, and I played some Overwatch, which we'll see in a little bit later on in the show. But just off the bat, before getting into too many details, I will say I did see a little difference, and I run a pretty similar system, a pretty competitive system, comparably speaking. And I will say, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. So I can't wait to keep on going and unbox the thing.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Now, again, special shout out to Canada Computers for delivering that beautiful machine for you. So that's thanks to them for that. And I'll say I was so glad to hear that. Hey, you've been your gaming machine is so important to you, and you've got that competitor system. And even with the really great performance that we get these days on games, especially Overwatch, being able to actually see a real difference with the number of hours you put in Overwatch, yeah, that's really proof right there that 12th gen is a really, really great CPU for gamers. And you do some content creation too, so we'll get to that a little bit later. For those of you who aren't familiar with 12th gen Intel Core, it's actually a pretty special one, right? I mean, we've been in this industry where, yes, adding more cores is pretty important, right? This is an approach that's been taken by many companies out there, especially our competitors. More cores, just throwing more cores at the problem. But Intel's the first one in the PC space, in the client space, to take different types and multiple cores all into one. So we've got those P cores, those are the performance cores, and then we have E cores, those are the efficiency cores. And some people say, hey, is that like the big little thing I've talked about or I've heard about? No, I would say this approach is called bigger, because those E cores are definitely very, very performant. You can say, are they kind of little, we can call them small cores, and they're efficient because they're also size efficient, space efficient. You can fit 4 E cores in the space of 1 P core. So you're asking me, someone can ask, oh, why don't you just do 16 performance cores instead of 8 performance cores and 8 efficient cores as you have on the Core i9-12900K? And the fact is, hey, we can pack a lot more cores in there because, again, a cluster of 4 efficient cores fits into the space of 1 performance core. And let me get back to performance. All right, if you know kind of your generations of Intel, the Skylake microarchitecture, which powered Intel desktop processors through 6th through 10th gen, that's Comet Lake, an E-core is about the same performance as that Comet Lake core. So let that sink in for a second. 10th gen, and you get that in our quote unquote little core. That's our efficient core, right? So this actually highlights how much performance you get out of our performance cores. Our performance cores are even faster than that. And you know what? These things work together. I can get into it a little bit later. I don't want to hog the spotlight. Karki, do you have any questions about this new 12th gen processor?
Well, I mean, you were elaborating a little bit on the more technical side, and I think it's, I'm really happy you guys brought me on because, gamers, the term gamers is a pretty broad term, right? And you have people from all different sorts of tech backgrounds. Some know the specs, front and back, but some get lost in the technical jargon. I'm glad you actually explained the E cores and P cores for me, because that helped me certainly to appreciate what's changed in this new generation. Actually, I had a question for you, Marcus. If you were if you could kind of explain that to a super casual person, like a super casual gamer, like, hey, I want the best of the best. What could you say about the whole E cores and P cores for gaming specifically? More frames, something that's just easy to digest for a casual person.
Absolutely. You know what having these different types of cores, the performance cores and the efficient cores means just having the right tool for the job, right? It's really about having a flexible architecture where not everything you do needs that supreme performance, right? If you have everything in the same core, that's great. But the fact is, if you can have more resources and having the right tool for the right job, that's really important too. So for certain workloads, let's say that you're on your computer and you're doing something like you're gaming, okay? And for gaming, you want the most outright blistering performance. That's why you want to have those performance cores. Then in that case, what about things that run in the background? Yes, you may want to shut off as much in the background you can, but let's say you're running your email, or even if you shut down your email, there's always some sort of cloud sync going on, right? These days, the modern OSs do so many things in the background that you want to make sure that those are put into the background task, right? So we can offload those things to efficient cores and unleash and unlock and let your performance cores maximize their potential on the game. And actually, the system is really smart. So you say, hey, to the casual person, do they have to do any micromanaging of where they put their applications and programs? Absolutely not. So there is actually a kind of a hardware baked into the processor called the Intel Thread Director. That's a fancy name. It's actually an OS scheduler that works with Windows. It's optimized for Windows, but it actually does work with Linux, works with Windows 10. It's optimized for Windows 11 because we actually built this processor in collaboration to make sure that Windows 11, all of the Microsoft applications are optimized for this. We're not just working with Microsoft, but Adobe, a lot of game developers to know that, hey, they can really optimize this for hybrid, so they can figure out which of their games should be, or which of their workload should be running on the performance cores, which on the E cores, just to maximize that. So the thread director makes that choice for you. It's completely automatic. You don't have to turn on, you don't have to assign any workload to any core. It just knows, it's smart enough to be able to say, you know what, this isn't that important. This is email. It's even in the background. It actually knows which windows that you have that are active and which ones are in the background, and even takes that telemetry all into account. So, hey, what is it to the casual person who really doesn't care about what core goes into what thread? Good news, you don't have to care about that. All you know is that if you're running this system, you're actually going to get the best performance, whether it's gaming, content creation, whatever it is. It's completely automatic.
That's actually perfect for me because I kind of fall in between the whole casual and know a bit of the tech. So I'm happy to know that it's perfect right out the box. Again, this loaner PC is on Windows 11. My current system is on Windows 10, and I set it up and I fired up Overwatch, and immediately I could see the performance right away, which was actually insane. What was I going to say? So for me, I am a content creator. So obviously I do stream, and I have other applications running on the side, such as my streaming software, a couple messaging alerts and whatnot. So it's actually fantastic to note that, the game itself will be run on the P cores, right? And then those other side tasks will be offloaded to the E cores, just to ensure that I'm pushing as many frames as I can. And I run on a single PC, and I do that for the reason for less hassle and hoping that everything is just, as easy as possible. And I think the whole Intel 12th gen just solves the problem of not having to worry about anything. So that's cool.
I'm actually glad. I'm glad you brought that up because, for streamers, yes, you can run hardware encoding, but there are certain people who actually prefer software encoding for the utmost quality. And before, some people do, they have a PC dedicated to streaming and they have a PC dedicated to the gameplay. Totally valid. Hey, but when I mentioned, hey, how does this thing intelligently split the workloads? That's a really great example there. You could have your performance cores, again, automatically will be able to dedicate it to, running your game. And what do you have in the background? A lot of people have Discord running in the background when the game, right? And you can have your streaming software. Those things can be put on your E-cores, so you don't have that. And also they're running very efficiently on far lower power budget. Really just gives all that power to the performance cores, so you can run your game at, I guess, as the measurably better performance that you've seen right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually do render, since I'm on a single PC, I've been rendering everything on the GPU encoder. So you're saying I could actually, it's so efficient, I can run it off the CPU encoder now, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, try that out. I mean, hey, if nothing wrong with using your dedicated hardware, your GPU encoding, but the fact is right now you've got that flexibility. A lot of people who are running two PC setups, they can actually consolidate and have it running onto one. And again, that way it's intelligently, you're streaming all your stuff on the background on the E-cores, and the performance cores are just, just free to run. So totally, it's consolidation. Two becomes one. And in a way, I mean, if you've seen that tagline, that video, divide and conquer, right? We're dividing that workload and we're conquering that. So not to get too cheesy, but I think that's what they meant when they came up with that marketing term.
Fair enough. And I see a couple of people in the chat. Again, this is supposed to be an interactive show tonight. People are asking about the rig or the loaner PC. I'm sure you see all the bright lights and the pretty case. I do have the specs for the loaner PC that Canada Computers kindly loaned to me. It is the case is the Corsair 4000D Airflow mid-tower case. you guys see? Am I fully in frame? I think my window is cut off there. Oh yeah.
Yep.
You can see
There you
that.
are.
Perfect. Graphics card is the RTX 3080, running on an 850-watt power supply, which you can't see. I think we got 64 gigs of RAM, with 4 sticks at 16 each at 3600 megahertz. I believe this is DDR4, but Marcus, I know the new Intel generation, they support DDR5. Could you elaborate a little bit on that really quickly?
That's right. So I would say that again, 12th gen is actually a really flexible, adaptable platform. We've built a lot of it with future proofing in mind. So yes, absolutely, this platform supports DDR5 as well as PCIe Gen 5.0. This is again the first platform to be able to support these two new technologies. Now again, if you know your stuff these days, PCIe Gen 5.0 things, they don't really exist yet. But when they do, this platform will support it. DDR5 does exist today. And hey, if you can get your hands on some, DDR5 is super cool. Yeah, if you can get it. And you know what? There's actually great performance benefits to both, right? DDR5 has insane bandwidth, right? Looking at 4,800 mega transfers per second. And, I'll say if you're running a really like bandwidth intensive workload, content creation being one of them, you'll see some benefit from DDR5. But the fact is, DDR4 is such a mature technology and it's more readily available. And that means like if you're, and DDR4 being so mature, it's latency. Right now, today, latency on DDR4 is better than DDR5. So if you're running latency kind of sensitive workloads, some of those actually include games, but not entirely. Some games are better on bandwidth, some games are better on latency. But you know what? Like you're really not going to lose out. Don't feel like you're losing out if you're doing a DDR4 system because you can probably build the system sooner, and it may fit better within your budget. You might even be able to use a DDR4 that's in your existing system now. And hey, if you can keep the parts you have and still get a great experience, that's good. And I'll say in my personal view is that don't let RAM choice be the gating factor in building your PC. Now, one thing you do have to keep in mind, I did say this platform supports DDR5 and DDR4. You'll have to check out your motherboard though. Your motherboard choice will dictate which RAM or vice versa, right? If you got that DDR4, because DDR4 and 5, the key, the little notch in the DIMM is different, right? So you can't put DDR4 into DDR5 motherboard and vice versa. You actually physically can't do that.
You physically can't do it.
You physically can't do that. But yeah, it supports DDR5 and it's future proofed. So hey, but for motherboard, you got to make that choice early on. But you know what? You're really not losing either way. It just really depends on, do you need that bandwidth or do you need that latency? But
that's
it's
fair.
Good either way.
Really quickly before we move on, the last parts were the motherboard, like you mentioned. This is the ROG Strix Z690, and again, we are running the 12th gen Intel Core i9 12900K inside of it to round out the build. All right, throw it back to you, Marcus.
Awesome. Do we have another poll lined up? I was so caught up talking about that text. Okay, yes, another good poll. Cool poll, full screen poll. All right. Hey, okay, this is really cool. I'm glad we actually touched on all these.
Perfect.
All these features first. Yeah, that was like it was totally planned. All right, which 12th gen processor feature are you most interested in learning more about? All right, maybe this is kind of a silly question because we've actually run over some of these already. But yeah, make sure you vote. We talked about performance cores, the efficient cores, the thread director, which intelligently kind of puts the right workload on the right thread at the right time. And of course, future-proofed support for DDR5 and PCIe Gen 5.0.
That's a lot of people so for the DDR5, yeah, and the PCIe Gen.
Yeah. That means we can talk more about it. I thought we went into more of it. But hey, guys, and by the way, if you actually have specific questions that you want to learn about, we are going to have a Q&A session at the end of this where you can, our moderator staff is going to be there and be able to kind of pick the questions, consolidate. If a lot of you guys have the same questions, we're going to combine them and make sure that you get your questions heard. I'll try do my best to answer all of them, but we have a lot of engineers at Intel that know a whole lot more about this stuff than I do, and I may have to defer to them to answer. But yes, make sure you vote. We're kind of running out of time on what you're most interested in. And of course, even if your vote isn't the overwhelming answer, there you go. Everyone wants to know about those peripherals, PCIe Gen 5. When are we going to get those graphics cards? That's what I want. That's what I want to know. And, and SSD storage. Yeah. If you want to learn more, pop that stuff in the chat and we'll get to that. Okay. CarQ, on your desk, you've been teasing that Core i9-12900K. That's the top of the stack, the top SKU. That's actually special packaging that, and by the way, Intel has special package designers at Intel to make something that cool. So that is the really cool keepsake collectible packaging for that 12900K. And you're going to do a little on-air unboxing. And by the way, this is a separate processor from the one that you have in that system, right? So this is kind of like a true unboxing.
Yeah, that one already came pre-built. This is going to be a fresh unboxing. Quick question for the chat. Are you a waffle person or a pancake person for breakfast? There's only one right answer, by the way. You know what to say. All right, let's give this thing a little unboxing. We'll have to cut off the sticker, sealing it together. I think packaging is very important, to be honest with you. I kind of learned this in content creation, where you always have to kind of like elicit an emotion when making content. And I assume the same is for, selling a product or marketing it. Like getting a product like this and just seeing the packaging, you already just, you feel something, you feel good about it, right? So I was very happy to see like this is what they did for it. Okay, so you cut off the sticker, lift off the back, open it up like this. Oh, wow. It kind of just opens up and
is that
presents
magnetized,
itself.
right? I know you had to cut something, but is that like is that box held when it was closed? Is it magnetized on there?
Oh wait, no. I think it's just so well designed that it just seals nicely. Oh wait, no, maybe there is a magnet.
Oh, cool. All right, there you go. Maybe. So you can kind of put it together if you want to display that. Cool. All right.
Yeah, you lift it out like this, present it like this. There you go. The breakfast of champions. The waffle. Now, Marcus, there is a specific reason why they designed it like this, right? If you look at the texture of the waffle,
cool.
What's that supposed to be?
So we've been talking waffle, pancake. That's actually a representation of a wafer.
Wafer. That's right. Wafer. My fault.
Wafer. Though we think of wafers as like these like rectangular things, but we at Intel, or actually the entire silicon manufacturing industry calls that a wafer, and that wafer is round. So before a 12th gen chip is cut into that rectangular die that gets put on the package, and the package is that kind of that green substrate, and that your kind of quote unquote chip comes on. It comes in that wafer before they're cut. So there you could have dozens of Core i9, Core i7, Core i5 chips that are there, and then later on they're cut individually, and that's how each chip is made from there. And there's a specific reason. So as you know, chips and dies are rectangular, but then why are wafers circular? And that actually comes down to the way they're made. Ultimately, a lot of this stuff is silicon. This stuff is actually made from sand. So a wafer is made by taking basically sand, melting it down, taking that silicon dioxide, and then inside we use a crystallization process that puts in kind of what we call a seed crystal, and it's dipped in the middle, and then a machine takes that melted silicon, and it kind of keeps spinning. It runs in a circle, kind of flat, runs in a circle, and it makes a long cylinder, called an ingot. And then from that cylinder, you're slicing circles. So it's kind of like you've got this, I don't know, this hot dog or this piece of salami, and you're slicing like or pepperoni. Let's take pepperoni. You're slicing pepperoni. Right. You got these circles. So each wafer is kind of a slice of pepperoni. And in real life, they're pretty big. We're working with 12-inch wafers right now, and they're really fragile too, right? If I have seen, I've seen that these things have to be handled with intense care. Obviously, with that one, there's something inside. That thing's not chocolate. Is it chocolate inside? What's inside?
Yeah, I was just gonna try to. As you were explaining that, I was trying to figure out a way to open this. So it looks like there's two arrows here. Once you get this product, I'm trying to get it to focus. Do you see the two arrows? I believe you have to slide it over, line it up, and then pop it open. I believe people are excited to see what's inside. Sorry to cut you off, Marcus, about that.
No. I was actually laughing. Someone just called the central pepperoni unit. So that's CPU, right? That's yeah, like that. Oh, central pancake unit. Even better.
Even better. All right, I slid it over. I felt it loosening up. You ready?
Ooh. I'm ready.
The reveal.
There it is. There's your rectangle.
There it is.
There's your rectangular. That's a Core i9-12900K. Super cool.
There it is. Wow. Should I pull it out? I won't take it out of the plastic right now just to protect it, but this is what is inside. There it is.
That's billions upon billions of transistors just in there, just made from sand. That still blows my mind that are like, we've invented this kind of technology, just taking just raw material sand and then adding so much value to it. It just,
that's actually unbelievable. I did not know that as well. Wow. There it is. Inside, beautiful packaging. This is what the rest of the packaging looks like. Obviously, once you open the golden wafer, there it is. This is going to go nicely on display. Should probably put it back.
There you go. Keep it. That's why we make these things. We want to make them cool, and for people who really care about these things, you're going to buy the Core i9, and there you go. And your golden waffle, you gotta find a home for that guy.
Exactly.
So while we're talking about finding a home, obviously people who buy these processors right here, especially these retail box processors, you're probably going to be building your own PC, which, obviously, if you know what you like to tinker, build your own PCs, a great way to go. But hey, there's nothing wrong with some really pre-built, pre-tuned PCs. So I want to actually draw attention to a giveaway that we're going to have, special grand prize giveaway that's happening at the end of the show. And I gotta have a shout out to our partners at Dell. Dell is supplying has graciously supplied a Alienware Aurora R13. That's a 12th generation desktop gaming PC. That's going to be the grand prize giveaway. So I'm super jealous. And actually, I really like the Alienware Aurora R13. It's a special one because Intel has this special innovation excellence program, and that's where Intel actually works with a partner like Dell or any other OEM to make a special machine that kind of has that co-engineered experience, right? You bring the best of the engineers from one company and the best of engineers in another company, and you really make one machine that really works really well together. A lot of that happening in the IEP program at Intel has been on laptops, right? So desktops. This might be one of the few desktops in recent memory. I think somebody even told me this is the first desktop in 5 years that kind of came into this co-engineering program. So yeah, we're very proud to have that Alienware Aurora R13 be a part of our program, and it has special cooling to make sure that that processor is really able to to run unimpeded. So remember, stay tuned for that grand prize reveal at the very end. And you have to
don't tune out. You have to be here. You have to be here. So stay. That's
right. Oh, someone's asked me where's Marcus. I'll be coming back on screen sometime soon. Hold on. Let me. Okay. I'm back for a little bit. But we promised some experiential gameplay. We wouldn't bring an Overwatch content creator on without some Overwatch. So
that's right.
Yeah. Tell me. First of all,
sorry, go ahead. Oh no, I was just gonna say. We're just both.
All right. That's funny.
You go first.
All right. So hey, this is. I want you to walk us through. This is actually pre-recorded gameplay experience because I didn't want to distract you from your gaming right now. So I thought, hey, if we can talk over your gaming, that would be really, really great. I want to talk about your performance that we talked about. Clearly, I see. Look, I can't help but notice that frame counter in the corner. That frame counter is. We paused the video just for a second.
Paused it right now.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, we're back on. So 400 frames per second. Now that's right. Is that capped? Because I've noticed that it's only sticking to 400, which is to me just crazy.
Yeah, but Overwatch used to be at Overwatch used to be capped at 300, but they unlocked it to 400, and this is real gameplay captured on this loaner PC that does have the new 12th gen processor. I think it's paused for a moment, but that's all right. It's 400 frames per second, and for the most part, I was able to maintain above 400, obviously, in spawn. But when teamfights happen, you can see I blew up the counter when I sent this video in for you guys to watch. You can see even in moments right now where I'm battling the enemies, it just goes down to 380, 390, and I'd be lying if I'm only human. And we all know frames at a super high rate have diminishing returns, but I do actually play on a 360 hertz monitor. So these frames actually matter to me, right? I do play on a comparable, like I said earlier, a comparable system, and I would say I average around, I don't know, maybe 300 to 330 frames per second. But this, as you can see, the proof is in the pudding. So the proof is in the wafer. Look at it. I'm at 390,
You're supposed to put syrup. Maple syrup
goes on
syrup.
Waffles. The proof is in the syrup. The maple syrup. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So, okay. So you made that comparison that you had your other system, and that one's running at like, 330-ish. Again, it's a competing system, but I'm super jealous of the GPU that you have in that system. So tell me, what do you have in that system versus the one that's running at 400 frames per second?
Right. So the loaner PC is on an RTX 3080. My current system does have a 3090. But I would say Overwatch isn't that graphically intensive. I actually think it's a lot more CPU bound than you would imagine. And for that reason, I mean, frames are up 20 to 30 frames, right?
Yep. I think that is right there, right? Clearly, when you're hitting 400 frames, you're hitting that frame cap. You are CPU bound. So, even looking at a 3090 on the competing system, you're getting better here even with a 3080. And by the way, super jealous that you have a 3080 and a 3090 at your disposal. Wow.
That's right. I wasn't planning on having the 3090. I was originally shopping around for the 3070, 3080, but I couldn't find it. And the one time I had a little stock alert, they're like, "Oh, 3090 is available." I'm like, "All right, let's just go for it." Went all in and picked it up. But I mean, like you saw, even with the lower with a 3080 versus 3090, it's not much of a difference there. I really think the P cores and E cores are at play here because the new processor, this Intel 12th gen, is a lot more efficient in that capacity. The performance cores are kicking in right now. To record that, I did have some background tasks. I had the recording software, so I'm sure that was pushed to the E cores. So hey, looking good. For my Overwatch people in the chat, I know you're seeing some Diva gameplay. I see some of my my chatters here, some of my regulars. They know I play support heroes mostly, and I was actually queuing up for quick play flex queue, and they just happened to put me on tank, so I decided to show the occasional tank gameplay. So please don't judge my Diva. There's a couple of tank mains in the chat. Marcus, have you played Overwatch before?
The answer is yes, but when Overwatch came out, I was super excited. I'm an old, I'm probably dating myself here, but I'm like a huge Team Fortress player. So when another game with this kind of style came out, and this was years ago, so within the first 2 months when they came out, I kind of played a whole bunch of it, but I think I got distracted, couldn't devote the amount of time that I needed to actually make, just to feed my own ego that I'm actually good at this game. I decided, okay, if I can't devote, I get super distracted into other games, but.
Right.
Back in I would say, again, I'm dating myself, back in my heyday, the things that I poured the most time on is probably like the Quake series, like Quake 1, 2, 3, Quake Arena, Team Fortress, of course.
Any Quakers in the chat too?
That's right. And if you played Quake World, make yourself known, right?
My hand is down. Also, that's before my time.
It's the old Quake Arena. Quake Arena. What a great game.
Oh man. There I am right now trying to kill the, that other baby Diva just blew up on me, so then I had to, do some work over there. Bring it up, and yeah, take a look, like, I am actively shooting the enemies there, and the FPS counter, still at 390, 400. Looking good, looking clean. Yeah, I can't say I've played tank that often. But like you said, Marcus, you didn't devote that much time onto, to Overwatch. Do you play any other FPSs specifically? Obviously before TF2 and Quake. You said not much now, right?
Yeah. Right now, what's got my attention is I was really into Left 4 Dead back in the day. So when Back 4 Blood came out, I'm thinking, okay, it's time to get back that I get back into this. I really like story-driven games. I mean that's something that really gets my attention. So anything that has a big sweeping story, I'm definitely into that. But lately I will say that Forza Horizon 5 is something that's been taking up a lot of my time. I'll say that one thing that actually makes me sad is having like a pile of shame, right? When I was like, oh my God, there's a sale on a game, and then I buy it, and then I have this big pile of shame. So what I'm doing, not helping.
I think everybody has their pile of shame. There's a giant library of games they haven't been able to play yet. For for sure.
Yeah, and I've subscribed to Xbox Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate, so I can play it on my PC. I
Mhm.
can play it on my Xbox, whatever it is. It just makes it super easy. But yeah, Forza Horizon 5, yeah, and Back for Blood. Those are two like day one releases on Game Pass, and it's thought those are the two games that actually made me subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate, just to get those games day one, just keep me focused on a narrow. Well, they have a lot of games there, but keep me focused on gaming, and it kind of
Right.
helps me save some money too.
For sure. Yeah, I didn't realize they had a pretty good deal. I actually just subscribed to that too, just so I could try Back for Blood because I didn't get to try too much Left 4 Dead 2. And I remember my community was like, "Oh, you never played Left 4 Dead? What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." You know. So I did try Back for Blood for a little bit, probably a couple of hours. Didn't get as far as I thought I would. I didn't realize a couple of those zombies just kind of just. That game was pretty hard. I will say it was pretty hard.
Playing with friends is the best way, right? Because it is,
Mm.
there is PvP mode, but like it is so much fun with co-op with people that you know. So if you grab three other friends and you're able to play, it's just so much fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it definitely feels like a co-op game. I think Left 4 Dead was the go-to party game in the early 2010s decade, I believe, right? Or was Left 4 Dead maybe even before that? Was it 08, 09?
You're making
Oh
me
man,
feel so old that it's been so long that I've been
it
playing
really
these
has
games.
been. Yeah, I think I was in high school. It must have been like 08, 09 then. Man, time passes by so quick. Generational
I
leaps in
know.
games. My goodness.
Yep. Team Fortress is even Team Fortress is before that. Pretty sure.
Oh
Or
yeah,
TF2.
that's right. Yeah, and it's still a really popular game as far as I know. I think
Oh yeah.
it still has a pretty healthy player base. And TF2 is often considered the comparable version of Overwatch. When Overwatch came out, a lot of the TF2 people were the ones who first became pros really quickly in Overwatch because of the transferable skills that the FPS genre, where like there's a lot of mobility versus other like traditional shooters where people are actually static on the ground and have to drop. But then Overwatch as a whole, whoa, fly around the map. You got to shoot the Lucio, shoot the Winston, and in TF2 there's is it a scout, the one that kind of hops around with the rocket launcher?
Yep.
That's the one, right?
Scouts. Yeah, Scout's good. Yeah, I played the Scout a lot. Love the Heavy. Right, the engineer. Actually, Valve has been so good at just that character design. Yes, same with Blizzard actually, but like character design is what sets these games apart, and
Oh
game
yeah.
balance too. Right, I'm sure that over the years you may have some characters that are overpowered, but I think that they do pretty well in game balancing.
Hmm. I mean, us
Oh, someone
Overwatch
loves
players have a lot to
net.
say about game balance, but I won't get into
Well,
that.
that's all right. I think we got another poll coming around the corner. Let's see. Okay, we can talk a little bit more about this one, but it's about overclocking, right? And the 12th gen desktop processors that are available right now are unlocked and overclockable. So this is kind of a more enthusiast question for those of you out there. But hey, do you overclock your CPU? And if so, how do you do it? So you can do it in the BIOS. There's even an old school version. I probably should have asked for this option to be there if you do it with dip switches and jumpers. But BIOS is the way you do it these days. Actually, overwhelming a lot of you guys are saying BIOS. But obviously, there's the Intel. That's XTU. That's for the extreme tuning utility, and that's if you want to use software to tune it while you're in Windows. Kind of makes it easy. I'll be honest with you. You get a lot of the features, makes it super simple. But looks like we have a lot of enthusiasts here who like to go right in the BIOS and do their overclocking. And you got some underclockers here too. So you guys are super into efficiency and sipping and saving that power to underclock. And I think that makes a lot of sense, especially if you're playing on a laptop and mobile. And some of you are asking, what's overclocking? And you know what? That's a great question. Be prepared. You're going to go down the rabbit hole because overclocking is kind of like it's kind of like supercharging your car. If you want to hot rod your car, you can kind of hot rod your PC. And again, these 12th gen processors with the K at the end of them, that means they're unlocked and they're really, really made for overclocking. So if you want to get into it, the K series are super easy to overclock. And the 12th gen systems are actually really fun to overclock. One is if you found that there's not enough headroom in a lot of the modern processors, I'll tell you, I've talked to our overclocking engineers and they're they got that sparkle in their eye, that twinkle in their eye, saying that there's a little bit more headroom in 12th gen. And plus, it's a fun thing to overclock because you get to overclock the P cores and the E cores. And I've been told those E cores have a little bit more overclocking juice in them than you might expect. So if you're into that, pay attention to those E-cores. And you know what? If you're not into overclocking, don't worry. So that Intel XTU software that was listed as one of those answers, again, that's an extreme tuning utility. There's something called the Intel Speed Optimizer, which you're thinking, I want to overclock, but I don't know how. We have something called one-click overclocking. If you take that 12900K, that Core i9, and you click it, it'll automatically overclock your P-core or your P-cores by 100 megahertz, and it'll automatically overclock your E-cores by 300 megahertz. That's the baseline. That tells you how much headroom's already in there if we're going to make it automatic. If you can tweak a little bit more to get even more to that, you can definitely get your hands dirty. But with one click, that's that's pretty impressive. And right now it works with Core i9, but that feature will be coming to Core i7 and Core i5 in a future software update. So that's pretty cool in overclocking. And
that feature's for me. Yeah. That's what I love about this. How you can definitely capture the tech enthusiasts with all that extra headroom, and then the people who are semi-casual. Like I'm not in that category where I don't know what overclocking is, but I've always found it a little intimidating. So software that just does it for you and makes it easy, that's perfect for me. Can't go wrong with that.
Well, that's the funny thing, because we're talking about with Overwatch. I'll be honest with you. Hey, man, if you're going to overclock against, if you're hitting that frame cap in Overwatch, maybe overclocking. Hey, if there's performance on the table, I don't want to leave it there. I definitely want to eke out all that performance. But in Overwatch, your gains may not be as huge, but you're a content creator too. So that's where overclocking, getting even just like a handful of percent more could matter to you. So can you tell me a little bit, about your content creation experience, and what else do you do with your PC other than play Apex and Overwatch?
Yeah, well, obviously I've been making YouTube videos since actually even before I was making them on my laptop when I was a university student, maybe like 8 years ago, just for fun. Always been editing a little bit here and there. And then when Overwatch came out, that's when I made a couple more videos just for fun. And that's when things kind of blew up. A couple of videos went a little viral. And I'll be honest, I think my first PC that I built when I was editing and making Overwatch videos had the i7 6700K. Is that Skylake?
That's right. Yes, it's an unlocked Skylake. That's yep, good stuff.
Yeah, and I upgraded to the 8700K, and then now with this 12th gen, it's going to make it a lot easier. If anybody here video edits, you'll know one of the most frustrating things is your editor crashing and things just not going smoothly with either the dynamic preview. And a lot of the editing software does give you the option to either accelerate it with your CPU or your GPU. I've had to mess around with both. I've had mixed results with both. So, just knowing that every new generation, there's a little bit less crashing every time. So with the whole efficiency cores, I'm certain, and even performance cores, I guess, if I'm just content creating, maybe that'll solve some of the issues that are very frustrating as an editor.
Yeah, well, one thing I'll say, can't really speak to the competing system that you're experiencing issues with, but the fact is, Intel works so deeply with the entire ecosystem, right? Intel is a really massive company, right? We don't do just computer processors. We have a data center business. We have an IoT business. We're definitely into manufacturing. If you've been following Intel in the news lately, Intel is doubling down on manufacturing because, hey, supply chains have been just really, really challenging this year, and no better way to take control of that by taking our own destinies in our own hands and just expanding our manufacturing footprints. But going back to that, Intel actually works really, really closely with the ecosystem. So whichever video software you're using, we work with all the vendors. We work with Topaz, we work with DaVinci, we work with Blackmagic, we work with Adobe. Everything is kind of tuned and tested on Intel's x86 core, x86 architecture. We know we're not the only x86 provider in the game, but a lot of what Intel does benefits the entire ecosystem. So if you're experiencing more stability, it's because our platforms are really tested to the extreme cases just to ensure stability. Because a lot of not just content creators, gamers, streamers like yourself, but there are a lot of mission critical applications out there. We're talking, data center, that sort of thing, that do rely on Intel, and that stability is super important. So I guess all that stuff actually trickles down to making sure that you get a more stable product. So I'm just glad that you're able to get your work done.
Yes,
with 12
work done more efficiently and everything. Oh man, I can't wait to actually give it a whirl. With again, I was only able to play a game or two of Overwatch on this. Now I do get to thank you, Intel. Do get to keep that. I will be upgrading my system as soon as I can, and I'll give you like true, honest review on how much better it is. When I give it a
Yeah,
whirl.
you're going to be building
Everything's
your own system with that Core i9. So
That's right.
that's yeah. Keep me posted on your progress. I'm sure a lot of people in the chat will want to see how it goes too.
Mm-hmm.
So here we're at. Let me check. I think we have another. We got another poll coming up. But hold on, before I get there, let's have this poll up, and I can even talk over a little bit. But you may want to get some context. So there are several models of CPUs, right? You got the Core i9, Core i7, Core i5. Pretty simple, but they're actually really different here because the Core i9 has 8 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores. So you got 8 plus 8. Core i7 has 8 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, right? So you lose half your efficient cores. And the Core i5 has 6 performance cores and 4 efficient cores. So in all the K SKUs, you got both performance cores and efficient cores. You got that performance hybrid architecture. And looks like the overwhelming number of you really want to go for that Core i9. I got to give a choice. Shout out. Of course. Hey, and you do get that golden wafer, golden waffle, golden pancake, whatever you want, or even for your central pancake or pepperoni unit. But that Core i5 looks like it's only getting 10% of the votes. But I'll tell you right now that the performance per dollar, the value you're getting there. Now, if money were no object, definitely Core i9 every single time. But that Core i5, it's yeah, I think it's underrated. I'm looking at it here now and like, yes, everyone picked the Core i9. That's the one I would pick too. But if you're building on a budget, that Core i5, that bang for your buck, that value for your dollar is, I would say, is pretty unbeatable. That's a really good build for your getting that 12600K. But hey, if you're going all out, do it. Core i9. So it looks like more than half of you want the Core i9. Good choice. Now, hopefully it's for the performance, but I got to say that box is pretty sweet. So if you want that golden waffle, the golden wafer, I don't blame you.
That's really only on the i9, right? For the golden wafer.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Golden wafer, but you still get the P cores and E cores for both. So yeah, there you go. Man, that thing's cool.
It's just shining. It's just reflecting all the RGB in this room. I have a lot of RGB going on here. I don't know if you can tell clearly. There's just a lot of reflections going on here. Ooh. It's like a flashbang, but colorful. One more time.
Cool.
Get a little spin around. I feel like my hands are a little sweaty. I don't want to like cloud it a little bit. Gotta keep it clean, pristine.
Yeah, that thing is glossy golden plastic, but you definitely have to clean that.
Yeah, if you're a collector too, like if you like displaying stuff on the shelf, I mean, this is just another reason to pick up the i9 if it's within your budget, of course. Very cool.
So one thing I haven't touched on, and it's actually really important these days, is these processors, or some of the processors, half the processors have integrated graphics, and it's in a day when you're building your own desktop. I'm like, what's the value of integrated graphics? That's a question I've always asked. But these days, it's not really easy to build a brand new PC if you don't have that GPU available to you, and that's just the reality today. And I've been mentioning the 12900K, 12700K, 12600K, that sort of thing. There is a model of actually all of those have integrated graphics, and they have the XE Media Engine. Now, granted, these are still based on the same XE graphics that we have in our Tiger Lake processors. They are really great. They've got a lot of good hardware encoding. You can do quick sync encoding, AV1 encoding. Really, really great. As for gaming, they're not really meant for that, but they can do some light gaming. Ultimately, the idea of if you build a desktop CPU, it's going to have discrete graphics. So if you definitely have discrete graphics, you're going to see a variant called the KF. So that's a 12900KF or 12700KF, 12600KF. The KF means that it doesn't include integrated graphics. So if you already have your GPU, get that KF, save a little bit of money. But even if you have graphics, I'm going to make the case that if you get the K SKU, the one with graphics, it sometimes makes troubleshooting a little bit easier. So if you're just swapping out your GPU or something's wrong with your GPU and you need to boot, I like having integrated graphics in there. But hey, it's a personal choice. And these days, if you're building and you just want to get started, and you don't have that graphics card yet, having that option of the the integrated graphics is pretty handy. But hey, if you're looking to pick one of these up, and I believe if you're in that environment, there's a Shop Now tab. You can definitely check it out. I was told that we have good stock right now, good supply of these processors, so you can definitely pick one up. And hey, if you want those integrated graphics, get the KSQ. Get that KSQ. Okay, now with that out of the way, I'm going to ask you, audience. There's another poll there on that. There you go. I've outlined it. I've set it up. Pretty simple. Do you need those integrated graphics? You need the K? You want the KF? Or, hey, I haven't mentioned this yet, but this is just the very beginning. We have 6 of these processors out there, half of them with integrated graphics, half without. There's going to be non-K. So if you're not an overclocker or you're looking for something a little bit different down the stack, there will be non-K CPUs coming soon. But today, right now, if you want to be on the bleeding edge, you got to get an unlocked overclocking CPU. Oh, that's interesting. We got some people chiming in that they're waiting for 12th gen on laptops. And I'm saying, like, 12th gen is also super, super cool on laptops. So if you're a laptop gamer, you're in for a treat. But again, looks like everyone loves having all the features. Most of you voted for having that Core i9, and it looks like you want the Core i9K with those integrated graphics. So, hey, I'm not blowing smoke here. Having those integrated graphics has helped me troubleshoot number of issues a number of times. So cool. I will, you know what? I'm going to take this data. I'm going to bring it back to our engineers and our design team to say, yeah, keep working on those integrated graphics. Because even with people with high-end desktops, like you are, if you're buying a KSQ, you are definitely going to be appreciating those graphics. But hey, we're going to keep offering the option of the KF, because who doesn't want to save a couple bucks? All right. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for being so active on chat. We want to open it up right now to having some. Wait, hold on. I want to make sure I got the right. We got Q&A. Make sure I got things right here. The Q&A segment. That's right. Okay, let's go to Q&A. There we go. I'm just staying tuned from the producers to tell me what are these questions. I feel like we're just like, I'm anxiously waiting for. Whoa, there's so many questions. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. First question. Well, I was like, so this question's just like rolling in. Okay, first question. Windows 10 or Windows 11? Hey, you know what? Like, picking your operating system, if I had to say, if you want to absolutely maximize like everything you're getting, if you're buying a 12th gen CPU, Windows 11 is going to run best on it because it actually knows it has that intelligence to work with Intel Thread Director. So it's intelligently able to assign which tasks go to the P cores, which one goes to the E cores. So I think that's an important thing. If you're running Linux has, we're actually working with Linux already, but the way that Linux works with the kernel releases, that stuff's coming soon. But hey, if you have a Windows 10 system now and you really don't want to go to Windows 11, it's still going to run really, really well. There is an OS scheduler, but I don't think it's going to have that same level of detail on what you're doing, which task goes to which core. So it works, but if you had me to pick and you're running 12th gen, you're building a brand new PC, just go with Windows 11. I think it's that's just going to maximize all the performance for you.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was able to mess around with it. I haven't upgraded my main system onto Windows 11 yet, but I did get to mess around on the loaner. So far, so good. I liked it.
Cool. Yeah. And I mean, kind of like all versions of Windows, they're just going to get better. All right. Okay, we got a question from Sharpshooter01. Wants to know about OpenVINO and Open API use of integrated graphics. Yes, absolutely. This is a question I'm going to have to defer to the people who know more about from Intel software division. I'll say right now, you're asking questions that have to do about software, and you're wondering, wait, Intel does software? Yeah, I think Intel has something like over 10,000 software engineers at it, which is pretty incredible for a company that prides itself on manufacturing and like just silicon design. But OpenVINO 1 API, I know that there's very important parts to our software team, but I want to be able to answer from a place of knowledge. So, definitely save that question. We actually do Reddit AMAs. So if you're on the Intel subreddit or not yet, subscribe to the Intel subreddit, there's an AMA, and I think that would be an answer that or question would be really good for our software folks. So thanks for the question. Okay. We got this question about talking about the manufacturing process. So, you may have heard process technologies being on different like nanometers, right? Is this a 10 nanometer, 7 nanometer? And I think that this has been a really interesting kind of technical and marketing exercise. But I'll tell you right now that 12th gen is on Intel 7. That is something we call, because right now we've moved away from calling things nanometers, just because we've discovered that there are so many different ways to create silicon. I mean, there's a generally accepted the best practice, but to measure things, now that we're getting down to just things that are like a fraction of like the thickness of a hair, like so small you can't even see these features. You're packing billions of transistors in that package that Cryo held up. Intel 7 is just our name, which matches more up against the industry. You've heard like this chip is on 7 nanometer, that kind of thing, but we have a roadmap to get down to even smaller features. Again, that is a question for people who are in the manufacturing business, but I know that Intel is doubling down so hard on process technology. And I'll acknowledge that Intel definitely had some manufacturing stumbles, right? Intel was on 14 nanometer for a long time. And I'll say, for being kind of held on 14 nanometer for a long time, I'm pretty impressed at how much Intel, our engineers were able to squeeze out of 14 nanometer and that Skylake architecture. So just imagine how things are, like, I'm just excited at how things are just going to ramp up from here, because now that those manufacturing woes are kind of solved, yeah, everything is everything else. And yeah, if you're wondering, Intel 7 is what we call it. Okay. We're going to be doing giveaways soon. Let's have time for another question. I think that we're gonna run a little bit long, so if you guys can hang on for a little bit longer, I think it's worth. We're gonna keep you hanging, because we're gonna keep you hanging on this, because we're gonna have a grand prize giveaway. So let's. I'm waiting for. There might be a question about the socket, right? So LGA 1700 is the socket for 12th gen Alder Lake. Again, this is a jump from LGA 1200, the ones from our previous CPUs, and of course, all those extra pins are dedicated to a lot more I/O, right? So we got PCIe Gen 5. There's so much more bandwidth, a lot more I/O, so you just need more communication between the CPU and the rest of the system. So if you're purchasing a cooler, if you have an existing cooler that you really like, you will need to look for a bracket. There may be specific brackets to adapt your current cooler right now, which may be built for LGA 1200, to your 12th gen LGA 1700. So check that out. There's a great array of water coolers and air coolers that are verified for that right now. If you're wanting even more, I can probably tease that there's going to be Intel Cryo cooling. They'll be coming to Intel 12th gen. That's the Peltier Tech cooling. If you don't know what that is, look it up. The Intel Cryo cooler, Sub-Zero Cryo cooler. It's probably a pun to say it's super cool, but yeah, that uses science to further cool your CPU. Okay.
Glad you mentioned the bracket. I just want to say, I just realized.
Yeah, that's right. You want to make sure, and you want to make sure that cooler covers your entire heat spreader. And you know what? I should talk a little bit more about if you're into overclocking. Like, Intel really cares about thermals. So every generation we have, going back several years, we've moved to using soldered thermal interface material. You may have called it like STIM. That's so that further improves the ability for the die to connect to the heat spreader, so it further cools it. For this one, I think we've even thinned the heat spreader down even more, so for even closer, more direct contact with the cooler and the die itself. So everything Intel does, and again, by the way, this stuff was actually led by our overclocking team. We actually have a real overclocking engineer, an overclocking lab that's dedicated to making sure that these features are actually baked in the design phase. So overclocking is not just like a nice to have. Overclocking is really an integral part of Intel, and I think that really speaks to the passion that some of our engineers have for these really, really enthusiast honestly, like niche uses. So oh, right. And I'll thanks to the producers for reminding me. On the Intel Technology YouTube channel, the overclocking engineer that I'm thinking of, he's a principal engineer at Intel. His name is Dan Ragland. There is a video of him describing all the overclocking features of 12th gen I think it's an 8-minute YouTube video. Definitely well worth your time. Again, that's the Intel Technology YouTube page. Search for Dan Ragland or search for OC Guru at Intel or OC Guru 10th gen. You'll find that there. And I had a hand in making that video, so I'm just going to plug it.
Like and comment. It helps the algorithm.
Thank you. Like, comment,
YouTube
and subscribe.
I had to let you know. You gotta do it. All right.
Thanks, CarQ. Okay, all right. I'm here. I'm pleased to announce we have. I got some names. I got 3 names for the gaming mat giveaway. All right. This is for people who've registered. This is fantastic. Thanks for. There you go. You see on the screen. Oh man, you got one.
I got one.
Oh man,
it's big.
You see, I can't believe it. I got to announce this giveaway, and I don't even have one yet. But that thing's super cool. Yeah, that's made from our Intel gaming team, and they had an artist specially design those kind of like artwork componentized, and this actually kind of reminds me of that old SNK console art. If you played Metal Slug. That's super cool. Oh, sorry. I feel so bad for keeping everyone on the edge. I'm just super distracted by how cool that gaming mat is right now. Okay. Sorry, everyone. All right. The winners, and there's more, but I will, the 3 names I have for the mat winners are, MTH Smith. So MTH Smith. Congratulations. You won a mat. Second winner, Leanne. Congratulations. You're getting one of those really cool mats that I wish I had. Awesome. And third, but not least, Canadian Man Dan. Congratulations, Canadian Man Dan. You're also winning a gaming mat. Man, I got to get me one of those.
It's big. For scale, this is that's the PC. That's the mid tower. It's you can just see how big this thing is. This is definitely one of those where you put your keyboard and mouse on top of it, and you still got a lot of room, especially if you run on a high DPI mouse. If you're a wrist aimer like me in FPS games, it'll got plenty of room. Or sorry, if you're a low DPI forearm aimer or elbow aimer, this has got plenty.
But either way, you don't want to run out of mouse surface, right? That's the worst thing. You're kind of at the edge of it. You want, you want to be able to. So, man, that's some sweet swag, and of course we got more giveaways, right? Even we're not going to announce them here, but I'll say thank you everyone for tuning in. But before we close things out, we've been teasing it all this time. You have to hang on for the grand prize. And you know what? I'm going to let our guest of honor announce what the grand prize is. Again, actually, I'll do that. I'll remind you that it is the Dell Alienware Aurora 12th Gen desktop. CarQ, take it away.
That's right. I mean, if you saw a picture of it, it looks really cool. And there it is on the screen. Look at that. White, got some blue, some teal. Looks fantastic. And I do have the winner chosen for this new PC equipped with the new Intel 12th Gen. All right. The winner is... you got a drum roll, Marcus?
Yeah.
Cool. The winner is... chosen. It is Bobo.Supreme. Bobo Supreme, are you here in the chat? This one you have to be here to confirm.
Randomly chosen.
Yep.
Come on.
Please.
I hate to put a timer, okay, but if you're not going to show up,
I saw
someone else in line.
I think I saw it. Did you say wait?
Oh,
Bobo
Supreme. I am here.
Congratulations.
All right.
Win a brand new Bobo. PC. Let's go.
Wow. Congratulations. That is one sweet gaming PC. Super great. Again, I will say that Dell, this Alienware machine is super cool, but definitely don't be afraid to build your own. You can customize things. Looking at that, I've been kind of like eyeing up that one that Canada Computers put together over there, that white design. Super slick. Gotta admire the cable management there. All white build. Yeah, that's super nice.
It's nice. Well, it's clean.
All right. Hey, looks like there's a certain white case theme going on too, right? That Aurora's got that white case. You got that Canada Computers. But all right, I want to thank you, CarQ, for spending time with me today. It's been super fun. Again, thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you for tuning in live. Of course, if you're watching the replay, thanks for checking it out. Again, 12th Gen Core, we're super excited about it. If you want to have kind of more conversations with your fellow enthusiasts, check out the Intel subreddit at r/Intel. If you want to learn more about Intel technology, hear from our OC guru. That's the Intel Technology YouTube page. Of course, you can also check out our Intel Tech Twitter handle. That's at Intel Tech. And we'll have a lot more of that goodness for you to come. Again, thank you, everyone. Thanks, CarQ. Thank you for joining. Have a good day. Have a good evening, wherever you are.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you.
We all think we can wear a lot of hats, that we can do it all at once. But tasks pile up, and we lose focus on what matters most. We can't do it all. Until now. Because we just made the biggest leap in our x86 architecture ever. Introducing 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Performance cores plus efficient cores equals innovative performance hybrid architecture. High performance, single thread, max burst mega power meets scalable, multi-thread, dedicated offload throughput efficiency. Intel Thread Director technology intelligently assigns the right task to the right core at the right time for optimized, real-world, everyday performance. Performance and efficient cores, divide and conquer. So background tasks stay in the background, and your focus never wavers. Welcome to next-gen computing power that works the way you do, with a broad, dynamic power range for hardcore gaming rigs to thin and light Intel Evo-based laptops. The most advanced chip we've ever built. It divides so you can conquer. This is 12th Gen Intel Core. Do something wonderful.